Hello, welcome to Always Off Brand. I am one of your hosts, Scott Oshman. Welcome in. It is just me today. It's a Scotty O rant, but first, a couple housekeeping notes. Number one, absolutely blown away earlier in the week. We were chosen as one of the top 100 retail podcasts out there. In fact, we came in at number 5. And let me tell you, number 4, OmniTalk, ginormous, big. CPG guys, huge. We've had Peter V.S. Bond, who's a big friend of the program. We're going to get Shri on here, hopefully this year at E-Tail. The number one, okay, my absolute OGs of my OGs, the Scott and Jason show. This is just huge. We're number 5. That is unbelievable. Didn't see that coming. And thank you to FeedSpot and everybody. We'll talk about that again. You're going to hear about that again. A little show that could. I just could not believe number 5 out of 100 of the best 100 retail podcasts. So that just absolutely beyond thrilled us, and I'm just grateful for that. I've given a bunch of shout outs, and thank you to everybody on LinkedIn who's messaged me. Anywho, as I like to transition into, I wanted to make sure we cleared that. Okay. And now it's a Scotty O rant time, and here we go. If you're watching on the YouTube, I look like I have a bright light behind me. It's like the bright light they talk about. I can't block it out. I can't do a background. It's just, I don't know. But I got my little people down here. Do you see my little people? There's Summer. There's Haley giving me crap, of course. This is just put this on rinse and repeat. Okay. Put this on repeat. I'm over. From an ad, right? Listen, people, ROAS, return on ad spend, ACoS, I don't give a shit what you call it, okay? It's a different baseline, okay? Those days are over. Too many kids in the play sand. In the sandbox? Too many kids in the sandbox. So this is a new world we live in, okay? The days of high ROAS and low ACoS and all that stuff, that shit's over. Unless you're a unicorn in a unicorn category, or you're selling a $500 item, whatever. I'm sure there's exceptions to this. But let me tell you, everybody's like, wow, are you seeing this across Meta and Google and paid search and everything? Are you seeing these return on ad spends? You seeing these ROASs down like they are? I mean, we're $1.50, sometimes $2 than we were last holiday. The answer is yes. Yes, we are. You know what? Most people are, because it's a new world. The competitor said, I mean, you got 8 trillion people fighting over the same shit. Duh. It's just the law of large numbers. It's just competitive bidding. And the cost per clicks are up dramatically. So that means your customer acquisition costs, your CAC, that is up as well. Everything's up, okay? Because the cost to acquire the sale has risen. What do you do? Scotty O says, what do you do? Well, number one, I just talked about it. Organic social, big help, because you're going to offset, you're going to subsidize that organic, okay, and build up that you're going to cushion the blow of your ad spend and your productivity, your efficiency, right? You're spending $1 and you're getting $3 back. Hopefully, maybe it's been lower. So, but where it really gets to the rinse and repeat, and just I'm a broken record for crying in the night, is there are 2 streets, ladies and gentlemen, for digital advertising. There is the sales street, and there is the profit street. And you can't have both at the same time to start. You can't have both at the same time to start. I should literally just put that on a loop and make sure on all my client calls, I just, every once in a while, I can just go to it and press it on the sound effect board. It's going to be a problem, but ladies and gentlemen, I've tried it, as I've said, it won't work. It's impossible. Understand digital advertising math. And this is how optimization works, which I'm making fun of, but it's true, is the keywords and all this other garbage you got in campaigns and what have. It's what am I costing? What does it spend? How many clicks do I get? How many impressions do I need to get clicked? What's my click-through rate? And then the cost per click? That's the math. And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be way more money than you ever wanted to even dream of to get the amount of clicks, to get the amount of sales, to hit your number. Any of this makes sense? I say this and it's like, am I literally logically explaining this to people? I don't even know half the time. There's 2 streets, man. There's a fork in the road. You got to pick one. You pick one. Sales. I want sales. And by the way, little brands, that's full funnel if you want to call. I know full funnel Jubileer isn't here. But medium brands, small brands, if you're not a brand that actually has recognition and hasn't built a huge base and following and you have volume of customers, you can't afford full funnel. You can't afford the sales track. You can't go buy the traffic. You just can't afford it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to want to be telling you this. Okay, I'm not trying to be a jerk. You can't afford it. That's it. But what you can do is you can afford the profit side. And if we do the profit side right, and we try and get for ROAS, or we try and get for the lowest ACoS, which again is a term I don't like, then in 4 to 6 months, sometimes 8 months, sometimes sooner, sometimes later, I mean, there's a billion variables I can't predict or control. It will come around to sales. Meanwhile, you have a couple bucks in the bank. Because why? Because profit is undefeated. Still is. Yeah, it's 2025. Profit is still undefeated. The days of big capital, the days of burning cash, the days of not being profitable for 3 years, those days are very far and few between. So that's just, you pick a street, pick one, go with it. The other big thing that people do, I get why they do it. I understand it. It's human nature. They say, Scotty O, I want to go down the profit one. Great. Super duper. Let's go down the profit. Let's just go manage for return on ad spend. I don't care what it is, by the way. I don't care if it's Meta, Google, Amazon. I don't care if it's PPC, DSP. It doesn't really care. It doesn't matter. By the way, DSP, just so you guys know, it's over-indexed. Oh, the ROAS is higher than it really is, but it's another talk for another time. Anyway, profit, fantastic. Let's do profit. I'm in. You know, I love profit. Profit's my game. That's my happy place is profit. And then you're 2 months in, 3 months in, you're profitable, but again, your sales aren't just skyrocketing. So what do I hear? Then all of a sudden it's like, we're really profitable. We're just not hitting the sales marks. We're just not hitting the sales goals. And then guess what? You're dead to me. Because, and I tell this to people up front. I said, when we're going to pick a street, 3 months in, 4 months in, I don't care. I can't predict that. You cannot come to me and say, oh, I'm getting cold feet. I don't want to be profit anymore. I want to go for sales. No. I have said this. I will say this to you in the most nice, polite, respectful way. Pound sand. Find somebody else to do your bidding, because I ain't doing it, because you're asking me to fail. You're asking me to switch and do something that is just dumb. The outcome is going to be sadness, and then everybody's going to piss. Then you're going to fire me. Then I'm going to, I've done it 100 times, if not more. So once you pick said street, and whichever street is right for you, it's fantastic. If you go for sales and you're like, hey, my return on ad spend is starting to go down. It's going down. I'm getting nervous. It's going down. Don't ask me to change directions don't try to change the street, because I won't do it, because it's dumb. You have to stomach it out and you have to hang in there. Okay. And this principle applies to all digital advertising across all platforms. Of course, there's exceptions, blah, blah, blah. But this is the law. This is mathematical certainty. Even now with the new bots and the new algorithms and new stuff, it's getting tougher. It's taking longer, I grant you, but the principle is exactly the same and it hasn't changed. So do yourself a favor. If you got an agency, if you got somebody, whatever, do yourself a favor, do that person a favor, do everybody a favor, and pick a street and stick with it. And you know what? Through the good times and bad times, through happiness and sadness, you got to stick with it. Because I am telling you, as I have experienced a zillion times, it comes around. If all these, now you can't, now, of course, I'm disclaimer number 642. I can't, if all of a sudden some other thing or you're out of stock for 3 months, I mean, let's just talk about, if everything's even, okay, all things are equal. So that is my big thing with digital advertising. It's becoming more and more prevalent, more and more important, especially for small to mid-tier brands who don't have wide distribution. They don't have 7 different sales channels. Their infrastructure isn't set up for it. This is just becoming harder and harder. But if you have discipline and you have the courage, and if you believe in whoever's running it to make sure you hang in there, it's gonna pay off. I'm telling you, I promise you, it's gonna pay off again if everything else is stable and there's other things is going the same way. Okay, that is my 2 streets. I've done it since the beginning of this podcast in 2021. There you go. 2 streets, digital advertising. I feel better. Does anybody out there listening, seeing, watching feel better? The other thing I wanted to just rant about is this is also to small startups. So this is mid-tier brands. This is it covers a lot of different brands, and the big enterprise brands struggle with this even more because why? Silos equals sadness, and this is very hard to do. What I'm talking about, peeps, is I'm talking about integrated marketing, integrated sales, integrated advertising, integrated. God, now I can't say that. Integrated approach, holistic approach. Okay. This is when you have somebody who's got full P&L ownership of the big spreadsheet, the one that says what we're spending on Amazon, what we're spending on Meta, what we're spending on Google, what we're spending on TikTok and every other ad platform, every other retail media, what we're doing on Walmart, what we're doing here, we're doing there. The teams of which who execute said things, the teams that have external agencies for all these different pieces and parts. Okay. That shit's got to stop. And we are rolling to a reckoning. We are coming to it slowly, some faster than others. But that's just not how the consumer works. That's just not how the world is working. Okay, the typical marketing funnel, and check out our great sister podcast, Brain Driven Brands, hosted by Sarah Levinger and featuring Nate Lagos. They'll talk about how they think the marketing funnel is absolute. It's crap. It's absolutely just it's nothing. It's not there. It's poof. The magic dragon, it's gone. Okay. It's baloney. Why? Because the way people are buying, seeing, discovering, screen, physical, like it's all over the board. That's why it's bullshit, not attribution. It's because the internal organizations of many of these brands and retailers for that matter, okay, and the startups too, and this goes across. They're not combining. They're not breaking the silos. They're getting everybody in the room and everybody looking at the same numbers, the same budgets, the same efficacy, the same tactics, the same creative. Do you know how much waste there is out there in creative? It's unbelievable. I can tell you there are brands wasting millions of dollars on simple creative, whether it's static, motion, video, or various claims, even influencer creative. There's massive waste because every internal organization they got this team. Oh, well, that's my creative agency. They just do my creative. Oh, where did that creative go? Well, that goes on my physical. That's just on my out of home. Okay, well, then I have another agency that does my digital, but that's only for paid social and paid search. Then I have another one that does just my YouTube. That's all they do, my brand awareness. Then I have another one that does connected TV, and I have this. You guys see what I'm going to? This is crazy town. This can't continue because the same creative within reason works on your product detail page on Amazon and Walmart. God, Walmart, please. It's another tangent rant. I love you. You're making progress, but for the love of Pete, would you get your shit together? Thank you very much. Rooting for you, on your side. I'm on your side. Anyway, this is a big challenge that I see, and I get to do this fun work where I look at all these different brands and I look at all these different agencies that do all these cool stuff. And when the brand finally figures out and says, yeah, I want a digital hub. I want one person, one team. They're in charge of all the digital stuff. And they're obviously working with our retail teams that have brick and mortar, if it's large store format and omni-channel and everything else. But they're in charge of the dollars, the dollar bills. Okay. We are on a road, people. And I don't know if it's happening where you are, in your neck of the woods, but I see this happening. And the agencies, there are pieces and parts available and willing to do it and can do it and have the capabilities, but because they're going to follow what the brand's needs are. So once the brands continue to basically coalesce and synergize all retail marketplaces, all media spends, all ad spends, then the agencies are going to start and have competencies like, hey, you need full service management on this platform. We got you. You need it on this to sell. We got you. You need retail. You need digital. We got you. There's some tremendous on the enterprise level. You see that with the Tenuity and the flywheels. They're great at it. But there's this whole other little desert pie there, the piece of the pie. And I'm telling you, as somebody who's sitting there looking around at all this stuff, and I've had a ton of conversations, there's not much there. And the reason why I believe, in my opinion, is because the brands aren't there yet. The leadership isn't there. The C-suite isn't there. The financials, the boards, everybody else, they haven't come together. It's still separate. This one's got an incentive because that's their e-com budget. This one's got an incentive because it's their Amazon budget. The cross-functional, we used to call cross-functional. Okay, cut all that garbage out. Okay, hold a Zoom meeting. I don't care if you're in office. Just close the door and get everybody in a room and look at the one sheet. We spend X to get this sale. Silos equal sadness, and we got to break down these silos because the consumer is gonna kill you. That's why the consumer doesn't give a rat's ass about your internal org and who has ownership of a P&L and who gets compensated on incentives or bonuses if they hit this, that, and the other. They don't care, nor should they, nor have they ever. But because things are blurry and blended, it is becoming table stakes. It is becoming just gots to do for these organizations to bring everybody together. And that's my rant today. There's a couple special ones in there for you. I hope you guys liked them. We will be back with a normal episode next week. We have a fantastic guest. Very excited to get her on the program. She's a star. She's a big deal in the Amazon PPC world. And that's coming next. I appreciate everybody. I'm pointing now, listener, down to my little YouTube people. Haley, I think that's you. And then where are we going over? That's Summer Jubileer. Thank you guys. Remember, people matter. Please like, share. If you like this stuff, please just tell somebody, tell a friend, put it out there. We're on the YouTube. We're on every platform. Like it, share it, do it. Bye-bye.
Hey there, this is Haley from Quickfire, and they want me to read this so you know what this podcast is part of and how to find out more if you want. Always Off Brand is a production of Quickfire LLC and a part of the Learn and Laugh series on the Quickfire Podcast Network. For more information, go to quickfirenow.com. Have a good one, and thanks for listening.